check it, because
Yeah.
we have reporters that don't do that, and then something happens, and then you lost it. Oh, can I redo it?
And you're good. Go.
Okay. Anytime you go behind a tornado the next day, and you're walking through people's lives, and those lives, at that point, they're still in shock. I mean, they'll never be the same. Maybe they'll be better, maybe they'll be worse, but they'll never be the same. And it's not something they asked upon themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a person who does drugs asks for crime to happen in their life, but they're doing something to increase their likelihood of it happening.
Yeah.
It's not like that with with a tornado. The day before a tornado, it could be any of us.
Yeah. And
it just happened to be that person, and it's heartbreaking to see that, and especially when people die. It's just, no matter how hard you try, if somebody died, you feel like you could have done more. So I guess to specifically answer that question, the hardest story I've covered was in 2011. We had a bunch of bad tornadoes, and they were deadly, not just here, but all over the place. But after the tornadoes that hit Phil Campbell and Hackleburg, Alabama, hardest for me to talk about is because I hadn't been here long enough to realize that some of those folks still watch us. Mm-hmm. I knew it, but I concentrated on other storms like the Smithville tornado. And I was concentrating on those, and I neglected the tornadoes for Phil Campbell and Hackleburg. Lots and lots of people died there. And there were other TV stations in Huntsville and Birmingham that also cover that area like we do. And they were just really, really bad tornadoes. But you ask yourself, if I'd gone back to that storm one more time, if I'd spent a minute more talking about that and not another one, would that have saved lives?
Yeah.
Or would I have been trading one for one, or more people would have died on another storm versus that?
Yeah.
And the fact is that I'm not God. I don't make those decisions.
Yeah.
And
you did your best.
You did your best, but you can always sit back and say, could I have saved I have saved one of those people's lives? What would they be doing today?
Yeah.
So it's
like, if I would have talked about this a little more, would they have understood? Hey, take cover. Hey, I need to move.
Exactly. What because it's strange what actually moves somebody to action. Seeing their roadway, looking at a picture, like without those two main things, and me saying it's going to be at your house at this time, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer. I honestly would not have had an answer for that. Okay. What are the day-to-day struggles? More personal questions. What are the day-to-day struggles that come with you and both you and your wife being in front of the camera?
Childcare. We have an amazing woman that helps us with childcare, but it's hard because mommy and daddy leave for work at a certain time, and then that's it. We don't see the kids until the next morning. So we don't get to sing lullabies to the kids when you put them down for a night. Don't bathe them. Read books at bedtime. Aside from the weekends, and then it's kind of hard to keep that. Outside that, every once in a while, both my wife and I have strong personalities. Believe it or not, she's the introvert of the two of us. You would never guess that. But she's the introvert, and I'm the extrovert, even though we're technically both kind of introverts.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Probably not. I wouldn't expect it.
You wouldn't expect it, but.
Not with y'all both being in front of the camera.
But, we're also in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
It's not like I am having to go up and strike up a conversation about just anything.
Yeah, right.
I'm talking a conversation about something that I know a lot about, and it's a one-way conversation.
Yeah, nobody's talking back to you.
No one's talking back, I'm not, anyway. So, sometimes I have a tendency to overpower her, and, that's... Yeah. That doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Wives don't like to be overpowered. But, we're really fortunate that we kind of both have our own niche, and it's not like we both do weather or we both do news.
Yeah.
I spend most of my day facing the opposite direction from her, except when we're on there.
Yeah. You see news and your weather. All right. Mm-hmm. How did you become so interested in the field?
I used to be really scared of tornadoes. And so I wanted to learn as much as possible about them, and that led to a fascination that, after a brief detour down law, because I was going to be a lawyer for a little while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got to college, failed my Spanish entrance exam, because I'm not good at learning foreign languages.
It's cool, me either.
Yeah, exactly. And so went in the book, what doesn't have a foreign language component, Bachelor of Science, or meteorology. I love that. Always want to do that. Let's try that. And stuck.
here you are.
Yeah.
Can't say it did you any wrong, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. My wife wouldn't mind a beach house from the money we'd make out for being a lawyer, but I also wouldn't have met her.
Yeah, that's true. And so things just worked out, and it just turned into a better situation.
I wouldn't change it. Yeah.
All right. What time do you get into the station, and what time do you leave?
Relative. I leave the station usually about 11:30. Depends on how tired I am. Believe it or not, I leave later when I'm more tired because I start after the newscast. I have this list of 10 things I need to get through, and I start getting delayed and slower and slower. Which is why you got an email back from me at totally. Super late, because that's when I usually actually have time to make it the email.
Yeah.
I have this weird problem where I'll answer unimportant emails before I answer important emails.
Yeah.
I have about 2 or 3 really important emails from like 2 weeks ago that I haven't answered. I'm really bad. I'm really bad with email.
It could be anxiety.
If I had a normal job, I would get fired. Most people get fired, but anyway.
But it's okay. You do your job. That's all that matters.
Exactly. I get into work. See, the problem is work starts at all points of the day when people tweet me. People tweet and Facebook, so it doesn't really. I physically get into the building usually about 3 o'clock. But it just varies.
Yeah. So you take social media as being a major part of your job. So
it is.
Okay.
It's a very significant. I used to be much more on pushing. I'm more on replying at this point.
Yeah.
Just because of changes in family. If I'm sitting there tweeting about stuff, what are my kids doing at this moment?
Yeah.
And is there memory of dad in front of the phone? Probably will be anyway.
Yeah.
But as much as possible, I want it to be tea parties and stuff like that.
I can understand that. Do you have a routine? Or how long do you get, and also how long do you get for lunch, if you even get one?
Lunch just varies. I'm fortunate that we have, break between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And so 6:30 to 9 is about an hour and a half, I guess. Ooh, math. So I'm relative. Some days I might not get any lunch break. Some days I might get a little more than an hour. Most people in the newsroom, it's 30 minutes, and it's pretty or less.
Yeah.
I'm just fortunate that I can do much of my job because it is current and happening now, and changing at the last second. That I can do a lot of it closer to that 9 o'clock time frame as opposed to prepare, which is what
Yeah. So you just kind of have to look at it right before you're going on there.
You're continuously looking at it, and you're making changes the whole time. And over time, I figured out that I'm going to make changes right before.
Yeah.
So whatever I set up, unless it's a very specific thing, and there aren't a lot of situations where I can really prepare super far in advance. It's usually 10, 15 minutes before we go on the air. And that's not the way everyone else does it. That's just the way I do it.
Just the way you do it. Gotcha.
John and everyone else, an hour or so before they're.
Yeah, and then they're just rushing.
I am boom, 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 boom up until you see me pop on the screen 10 seconds before what was behind me was something different as I was working on something in my show.
Gotcha. Do you socialize with your coworkers outside of work?
Not as much as I used to. Some, but not really. Families change that, because it's go out after work. And and after work is 11 o'clock at night. But go out after work, and do what people do at 11 o'clock at night, or go home and take the babysitter off the clock.
Yeah. So family is definitely a big.
Exactly.
Yeah. Gotcha.
From both a financial and family, situation.
I can understand that completely. When you attended the University of Kansas, did you participate in any internships?
Yes, I interned at a TV station in Topeka, KTKA, which. While I was interning there, at the end of my semester interning, shut down news operations, which that was interesting. Because I was kind of working my way toward a weekend meteorologist position there while I was in college. I was like, I'm going to get my first job while in college. And they shut down news operations. I was like, oh, that was something.
You're like, dang.
And then at KMBC, the ABC affiliate in Kansas City.
Cool. All right. How helpful do you consider internships to be?
Extremely.
Extremely.
I feel like if you want to be in TV news, and I can't speak for other forms of media, but if you want to be in TV news, you will not get a job out of college if you didn't have an internship. You would have to be some kind of certain special, and everyone thinks they're certain specials. You're probably not, because so much of what you learn in college is great, and it's important. It's a bedrock that you fall back on, but it has nothing to do with what your day-to-day is. Your day-to-day is going to be try to come up with a story, put it together, splice it together, post it to the web, and it's all as much as you think. You know, you have weeks to put together what we call